Okay, welcome back. While my first video is uploading, we're gonna record this one and hope that my storage doesn't freak the fuck out. Okay, so episode 2 of The Last of Us, season 2. Um, when I watched it, it didn't, you know how they all have titles? Like the first one was Future Days. I watched episode 2 when it was just called episode 2. It didn't have the title attached to it. And then, obviously, these are all gonna have spoilers, so if you didn't watch episode 2, don't watch this until after you watch episode 2. Because the next sentence I'm about to say is going to hurt. I'll give you a second to leave. Run. Save yourself. Oh no, this is the one where Joel dies. I can tell by Abby's nightmare. Fuck, I'm not ready. Not ready. Still not ready. Actively sad. Actively sad. I knew they were going to kill him off so early, but God. And then in all caps, I know you can see that. And Joel went out with Dina, not Tommy? What the fuck? Earl survived the damn attack in the first one. However, he did shoot himself because the safety was off. That is not ideal. But Earl survived. Which I was really worried about in the first game. Earl surviving that attack at the dam. And Earl survived. And that is important for everybody, I think, to know. Earl survived. Thank God. And then I said, no bigot sandwiches. Because that's a line in the game. And it's as ridiculous as it might sound, it is iconic. Oops. Watch a Twiddle Thumb gaming video. It's a good time. Plays a lot of Last of Us and mostly Last of Us Part 2. It's really fun. And then the next one in all caps is no weed library? No Dina and Ellie scene? I was fighting for my life this episode. I was like, everything's different. Oh no, everything's different. And then it says, I mean, Weed 7-Eleven is iconic too. However, it's simply not the Weed Library. And I was expecting Weed Library. And I said, I mean, I understand that they're trying to make Jesse more of an important character in the beginning and have Ellie learn a little bit more about the Fireflies. But no Dina shamelessly flirting with Ellie. Because in this part of the game, in all whole game, Dina is such a flirt. And in, like, she does such a good job. She's such a confident flirt. Oh, wow. The interactions. Ooh, so good. In the show, Dina is not our confident gay queen. She is just not quite there yet. She gets there. The plot progresses as it does, but it's not the same. You know? Not saying it's bad, it's just not the same. And Dina flirting with Ellie is one of my favorite parts of the game. So, oops. And then I thought that Abby was leading Joel and Tommy back to Jackson and not to her friends. But in fact, I was wrong. I was just wrong. I was like, oops, that's not what happened. And it, like, says that on my notes. And I said, Joel, no, that was the nicest and worst thing ever. I presume that is to saving Abby's life. That's so sweet of you. So great. Can you run? Yes. And making sure that, like, they're both okay. Like, that Abby and Dina are both okay. So sweet. And I said, I think it kind of makes more sense for Dina to be yelling for Joel in her, like, kind of scared, kind of worried type of way as the introduction to his name, rather than Tommy doing it. Just because, like, Dina is under the impression they're alone. Tommy is just straight up like, I'm Tommy, this is Joel. And when Ellie introduces herself to Henry and Sam in game 1, and I'm pretty sure in season 1, Joel gives her, like, bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye. Anyway, he's gives her the dirtiest look. Like, hey, no, we don't introduce ourselves to strangers. Joel wouldn't have introduced himself to strangers. Would not have. It makes more sense that somebody else does it for him. In the game, he does, because I think he puts his trust in Tommy, which is a mistake, in at least this context. But Dina being like, Joel? Like, worried that he's, like, dead and she's alone. And, like, they were alone before that. Like, where the fuck these people come from? Sorry, I have bread stuck in my teeth. Cinnamon raisin bread is really good, but I have bread stuck in my teeth. So I think it makes more sense for Dina to be the one that introduces the name to Abby. Like, I like that better. It makes more sense in the context of who Joel is as a character. I forgot to breathe. Okay. But then it says, however, not good, man. Not good. The weed gas mask instead of a regular bong. That is also kind of iconic. Good for Eugene, you know. And I said, so they are going back. Hold on. And then it said, so they are going back to Jackson. Fuck. And I believe that means they is the zombies. Are, like, the infected. Are going back to Jackson. Fuck. That's bad for Jackson. Living tendrils in the pipes. Bad. They're coming. Bad. Not good. Not good at all. And then it says, big different from the game. Which it is. But I think it kind of makes sense. You know, it's different. And I was mad about it in the moment. But, like, now that we're a couple episodes deep, I'm like, no, that tracks. The next one is, that's good thinking. Very fire. Big successful. I'm assuming this is when they're launching, like, the fireballs into the infected and, like, lighting everybody up. And then it says, that's going to be a lot of cleanup. I said, oh no, Abby. I said, oh no, Abby preyed on Joel's need to help. Oh no. Ow. That's really bad. Not another bloater. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Not the bread store with the kids. When the infected were trying to get into the bread store with the kids. And then it's just another, oh no, oh no, 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 no. And it says, girl, don't go down onto the street. How can bloaters see? Genuinely, how? Their faces is all fungal plates like Clicker. And yet they know exactly where the fuck you are. I mean, technically in the university basement in the first game, you can sneak by the bloater in that basement, like, for gameplay purposes. You can sneak by him. But you can sneak by seeing infected, too. If you're far enough away and they're distracted or sleeping. Like, you can do that. So, like, how does the bloater see? Genuinely would like to know. Inquiring minds, me, would like to know. And then I said, Tommy, I swear. I didn't want him to die. I knew he didn't die. Because of the promotional pictures. And obviously the plot of the game. They didn't die. I was like, no, just don't. And then I said, are you serious? What a lame way to kill the bloater in that high tension moment. We wanted Maria to blast its head off. I was really waiting for Maria to blast its head off and, like, save her husband. Instead, the bloater just got sleepy. And the fire finally got to him, and he was like, nap time. I wanted Maria to blast his head off. So bad. So bad. I was like, she's gonna do it. And then she didn't do it. And I was like, oh, damn. And then I said, no, not the dogs. Not the dogs. Because they unleashed the dogs to kill the infected, which is great. But I don't want the dogs to die. I played the whole second game without killing the dogs besides that one unkillable dog. You know the one. That shit hurt real bad. I apologized, and it is a video game, and I apologized. And then when Abby says, help them too, as in Dina and Joel, when they're actively freezing. And then I said, help them too, to kill them later. Abby introduces... It says Abby introduces themselves first, but I'm thinking, like, she introduces the group first. Dina being too weak to fight also makes sense in the context, because Dina would be fighting the fuck out of everybody she could get her hands on. So having her be incapacitated, that makes sense for the context of what happens to Joel. And then it says, well, at least Joel knew why he was clobbered to death. And then I said, Mel, girl, don't do it. Don't do it, girl. To, like, injecting... It's either injecting the serum-y stuff into Dina or tourniqueting his leg. I'm pretty sure it's to injecting Dina, though. And then Joel is like, Joel's like, Jackson is burning and I'm gonna die here alone. And my brother's not safe and Joel had a really horrifying final day of life. And then in Joel's, like, defense, at least he brought up the saving Ellie's life, or Abby's life thing. In that moment, he's like, I saved your life. He's like, well, you killed my daddy, so I'm gonna kill you anyway. Which she's not wrong for that. She's not. But you would have thought that, like, maybe that debt could have been, like, evened out. No. We were all just hoping. And then it says how many people he killed in that hospital. And then I said, I definitely killed more than 18 soldiers and 1 doctor playing that part of that game. Everybody. I honestly, at the point that I get to that part of the game, it's usually 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm exhausted. So I usually just sneaky sprint my way through the hospital and only kill the guys in the top floor of the hospital right before you go to do the thing, you know? I usually only I tried to kill everybody and then more people just keep spawning and I'm like, how the hell are you supposed to do this? Kill everybody at all? The answer is you're not, obviously, for plot purposes, but yikes, you know? But I definitely killed more than 18 and that 1 doctor. I shoot the doctor, the 2 nurses. I usually try to get them before they call me a monster. You're gonna kill my kid. You're gonna kill my kid? No, you're not. No, you're not. And then I say, and in response to her saying, you killed the unarmed doctor, or whatever she says, because based on my notes, I'm assuming that's what she said, because I don't remember the exact wording unless I put the actual quote in, and I didn't put the actual quote in. And it says, hey, he, being Jerry, the doctor, was armed with a scalpel and was gonna kill a kid. And then it says I shot the nurses too. Which I just brought up, but yes. And then it's a nice touch that Abby touched his nice hair that people call him hot for. Like in the first episode when they're at her dad's gravesite, he's like, people call him attractive. Damn right we do. Have you seen? Anyway, game him is also mighty fine. But like the fact that she was like, this is not actually that nice and you're a bad person. It's nice. And then I said, fuck, not the golf clubs. And then I said that Joel agrees with Abby that he's, like, a bad person and, like, what he did was wrong. He agrees with her deep down. Which is why he doesn't talk for most of her, like, speech and monologue. And, like, he's like, yeah, I've done some bad things. Something was gonna come get me eventually. I get it. You know? And I said he's at peace, or at least has come to terms with his death because she's right. Like, she's not wrong. It sucks, and we love Joel, and we didn't want him to die. But she's not wrong. Oh, God, I inhaled some of the cinnamon up my nose. Oh, jeez. Oh, why? What a nightmare. Okay. And then Ellie's like, Jackson is on fire. Fuck. And so let me read that in the tone that I wrote it down with. Ellie's like, Jackson's on fire. Fuck. And then it says that face was perfect. So Bella Ramsey's acting, spot on. But in the house, in the game, they're in the basement clobbering Joel, and in the show, they are not in the basement. And then it says they left the horses outside in the cold, not in the garage. Justice for the cold horses, because damn, it was snowing. And she's gonna go up the stairs into the room where he's dying instead of down the stairs. And then Joel was still kind of awake when Ellie saw him. More awake than in the game, because in the game his eyes were like swollen shut, like he could not see. They trying to drop me in this hole. I cannot see. That's a meme from somewhere. I saw it on Instagram. I don't know if it was originally TikTok or Vine but it's this guy riding a bike in the downpouring rain. It's like, they try to drop me in this hole. I cannot see. And it's so funny. He's like trying to like keep the rain out of his eyes. He's like, I cannot see. It's so funny. So I highly suggest everybody go look up. They try to drop me in this hole. I cannot see. And just watch it, because it's so funny. I hear that in my head at least once a week. At least. Usually more, because it's funny. Anyway, moving back on to the traumatizing episode 2 of season 2. So Joel's kind of still awake, more awake than in the game, because he really was down and out in the game. She was almost done. And then I said, oh my god, Joel tried to get up. You see him like trying to lift himself off the floor to like, because he's like, oh my god, my kid's in danger. I have to do something. And he's just not in any state to be able to do anything. And then she stabbed him in the fucking neck. Is that easier than clobbering his skull? And probably. It makes more sense considering she's not as jacked as Game Abby that she would have to puncture. Gross. Bad. So very devastating. She hit him so hard she broke the fucking golf club. And then I said, oh, his eyes are still open. At least they were swollen shut in the game. Oh god. A nightmare. A nightmare. This hurt so bad. I didn't cry. I cried, I believe, in episode 3. About episode 2. Because of a certain scene in episode 3. That really solidified what happened in episode 2. And I was not okay. But yes, his eyes were still open when he died. And then I said, oh god, she's crawling over to him. Oh god, oh no. Which is devastating and so sad. I know that's the same thing and I know that's redundant, but like, oh my god. And she's laying on him. Oh no. Oh, so sad. I know this is probably bad, but like that's literally what my notes say. Like, I was not good. And then, oh, I finally got the piece of bread out of my teeth. Not that you needed to know that. And then she was laying on him, and then the song from the game that Ashley Johnson was singing, which I believe was Through the Valley in that episode, she was singing it, and then it just says, ow, 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 ow. And then I said, oh no, now Jesse's riding up. People in Jackson asking to be killed because of the bites that they had received. They were like, just kill me, just shoot me, just don't let me turn. Oh, so much bad. And then I said, oh god, the blood is going through the body bag. Which I understand why it would be doing that, but also, no, not okay. And then this note says, my mama wants to know where the other horse is, and I said, as do I. 'Cause Joel and Dina had a horse, Ellie had a horse, and Jesse had a horse. And then Abby also had a horse? Like what? Like Dina and Joel each had one, and then Abby rode with Joel. Or maybe, or a lot, whatever. Right? I believe. And so there's a missing horse because they only take 2 horses back. So I am unsure. So if anybody knows where that horse is, we were very concerned about it. I forget where all the horses originated, but one is missing. And then it says, "Oh fuck, that hurts so bad. Tommy not being there for Joel's death is gonna change the story, I fear. And Joel should have shot Jerry the doctor in the hand to avoid all of this. Can't do surgery with a shattered hand. But you could still instruct somebody else how to do it, technically, I suppose." And that's the end of my episode 2 notes. Not okay. Not okay. If you didn't play the game, you were not prepared for that, and I'm so sorry. But also, please play the game, or at least watch, like, somebody play the game. Like, watch a gameplay video. The game will take 30 hours to play. At least, depending on your play style. And if you pick up all the collectibles and which difficulty you're on and how good you are at games and how used to the controls you are, it's going to differ. But you should most certainly play or watch the game and also be watching the show, obviously. Because, damn! That shit hurt. That shit was a different breed of painful than the game was. And the way they're just holding Ellie down and she's just, oh my god. The acting is so good. Oh, no, my hair. The acting is so good. Like, I can't, everybody is so well cast. That made my hair, whatever. It's so well cast. So well cast. And it's just so painful. So yes, if you want to sob about Joel's death in the comments, please. I will be sobbing too. And it's just the way it is. I watched my mom play the game in 2020 or 2021. I believe it was 2020, but the game came out in 2020 and we got the game used, so it might have been 2021. I am unsure. But I watched her play it. And I cried so hard when the big bad thing happened. And then I did not have it in me to play it until this year before the show aired, season 2. So, I didn't cry when I played it. I just, that deep-seated, like, it's just, it was really, I was not okay. Okay, I'm gonna hang up now. I'm gonna see if the first video is uploaded so that I can move that one to my hard drive. Like the raw video, which all of these are raw, I don't edit. So I can move it to my hard drive so that I can start uploading, or at least scheduling this one to go up, so I can move this one to my hard drive so that I can record the next one. Hopefully, is my thought process. So behind on videos. Okay. I'm gonna hang up now. I am. I might record the third one now. I might not have time to record the third. What time is it? Oh, it's 12:30. I don't know. Alright, I'm gonna hang up now. Good luck. I nerd out about episode 2 with me. Would love to nerd out. It's just so good. Okay. Goodbye. I forgot to pose for a thumbnail again. Trying to click through the video to find a thumbnail is like, some of the faces I make while just talking are ridiculous. You know Ducky from Land Before Time? In my last video, I was looking for screenshots and I paused it and I was making the most ridiculous face and I look like Ducky from fucking Land Before Time. Not that I have anything wrong with Ducky. I think voice actress's story is so sad. But I looked like Ducky from Land Before Time. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna hang up now. I have to go maybe record another of these. I don't know how much storage my computer's gonna be able to take, so goodbye. I forgot I need my hand for this.